Okay. So Shikhar, you started by hosting travelers at the Tarzan House, right? And now you run the Tarzan Way, an AI-powered travel platform. What inspired you, to do this evolution or do this, take up this journey?
So I started my journey very early,
Mm-hmm.
around 18 years old, when we
Okay.
started a backpacking hostel. At that time, it was a buzzword. I mean, hostel, and there was
Right.
hostelers, and then we thought,
Mhm.
let's make something like a homestay kind of a thing, which is like
Okay.
like a hostel, but gives the feel of a homestay. While running the
Okay.
hostel, I got a chance to meet thousands of travelers from more than 80 different countries. But the kind of experience they had in India and the kind of image and mentality that they had in their mind about India was
Right.
something I was not happy with. I mean,
Okay.
to give you an example, there was a couple who came to Delhi that was in 2017, and the
Okay.
taxi driver told them that Delhi is closed due to smog. I'll take you to Agra. And then he charged them 27,000 per person just the cab ride from Delhi to Agra. So they were, and this was not a one-off incident, right? There was this boxer guy from Australia, and he was duped at the airport. Someone took him to Chandni Chowk, and you know, he was framed for some drug-based scenario,
Oh,
and then luckily dropped him to our hostel. And we realized that even though in such a time where everything is so transparent, and there is Amazon and Netflix, and why is travel planning more or less the same? Why
hmm.
don't people take planned holidays? And that's when we also saw that while running the hostel, it was a very capital intensive business, especially for 18-year-olds. And secondly, we also did not feel that that was the right path for us.
Okay.
We sold it off in
Okay.
2018 to another hostel who was opening up in Himachal Pradesh and wanted to expand to Delhi. It closed down in 2020 COVID though, but
Hmm.
we sold it off. We got some money out of it. We paid off the loans that we used to start the same. We didn't take a very huge loan. We took around 8 lakhs loan only to start it, just to give the exact numbers for the
Understood.
viewers, right? 8 lakh was a very budget setup for the hostel, but we overall spent a lot more. We were trying to be sustainable and profitable, but that's when we sort of, there was a spark that came to us that we need to do something related to experiential travel,
Right.
related to and that's why we started the Tarzan Way, and primarily it was just intended for international travelers coming
Okay.
to India. We started with a few experiences: volunteer and travel India. There was
Hmm.
live in a Pahadi village, and there was travel and learn theater and travel and learn handicraft. So we started with these four experiences, and people loved it. A lot of people loved it. We got a lot of views. A lot of people came, but also majority of our traffic wanted something more personalized. I mean,
Okay.
they were like, "This life is good, but why don't you add 2 days of luxury in this place and then remaining days?" So we realized that travel cannot be the same for everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone has a vibe. Everyone wants their kind of experience. And if you are
Right.
spending so much so that it is almost equivalent to a car that you will buy, right?
Right.
Sometimes. So it needs to be personal. It needs to be emotion driven. And
Correct.
that's when we thought that why not let's create itineraries and sell them for $200, $100, $10. We created this price chart that will charge you starting at $10, around 700 rupees at that time, to
Okay.
nearly 1,000. We'll make a hyper personalized, detailed, curated plan for you, right? But we got a lot of people coming. Even India started paying for it.
Huh.
But then we realized that even this model is not very scalable.
Mm.
Need something that can scale. We did not want to build a lifestyle business.
Mm-hmm.
We make our own money and we go home. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to create something that at least million people can use. And with that, vision, we finally moved to an AI powered travel buddy in your pocket kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our journey has not been, a single idea that came and it was not out of the blue. I mean, we
Okay.
started with something else and we are doing something else completely. So we learned as our audience behaved, and we kept on solving the core problem with, of course, the vision in mind that we need to make travel personal.
Interesting. Interesting. With AI coming in, and it is actually having a lasting impact on a lot of industries, right? How would you probably put it in a right way? How is AI impacting the travel industry and the work you do every day, especially on the customer experience side?
Got it. So just talking about the industry in general, everyone is using in a different way. I mean, if
Yeah,
you are selling to an agent, right, if you're talking to an agent right now, he'll just go to ChatGPT, create a message for you and send. So ease
correct.
of messages would be one thing. That's the
Mm.
most basic use that I can think of right now. From something as basic as ease of messaging to something like making strategic plans and strategic calls, to something like face recognition at the airport, to
Mm-hmm.
something like hotels understanding you before you even know, to something like trip planning, AI powered. You can see hundreds of platforms, create your plan with AI right now. Something that was not very possible and very accessible earlier, right?
Right.
AI has so many use cases, especially
Mhm.
as far as travel is concerned. I mean, there are robots delivering your, food at your hotel right now. You go to China, you'll find a robot coming to your room,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and as AI progresses, and even these bots, even these physical robots, you know, get more kind of artificial intelligence, they'll be able to do a lot more than what we can imagine. Everything from front desk
Hmm.
to someone checking in your baggage at the airport to
Right.
someone, right? So even your air hostess or
Towards.
stewards, these roles, right? Every role, there's a large magnitude of roles that have that are vulnerable to
Yeah.
be replaced, or at least replaced to a certain level, is
Correct.
what I strongly believe. As far as AI powered travel planning, travel exploration, there are even apps. You click a photo, it will tell you about the monument. AI
Yeah.
powered audio guides are there, right? So since travel is such a huge industry, right? It's a very huge industry, right? And it's fragmented. You won't even find the market size of travel. You can just check right now. You won't find it because it's
Yeah.
so huge, right?
Correct.
So fragmented that everyone is implementing it in a different way right now.
Yes, yeah.
I personally believe that, of course, there's some kind of human intervention required right now, but it won't be required later on. People have started trusting AI much more, than you could think of. It's even better. It's faster, right?
Right.
So I don't have to train my team to tell them that, match this vibe to this person's holiday. But if there's a team in place, they would do it the same way that everyone else is doing. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
a lot
So I
going on in the industry.
personalization specifically, will go a long way with when AI kicks in, right? I think that's a very interesting insight. So, with respect to before AI and after AI, you have seen
Hmm.
both the worlds in travel tech, right? What
Yeah.
are some biggest challenges and lessons that you have seen when you have, scaled this company to this scale?
Got it. I'll start with before AI. I mean, before AI, I think the biggest challenge was COVID-19
Yeah.
because we were one of the companies who were there pre-COVID. We
Right.
started building our AI platform that was pre-COVID, right? How did we get the data?
Mm-hmm.
We did not want to copy it from anywhere. So we got people. We nearly got. So I had a lot of friends from my hostel days. So we
Okay.
nearly got 100 plus people, locals, writers to be writing out data for us manually,
Very
right?
nice.
We created a system that could basically understand what had been written,
Mm-hmm.
fetch the publicly available information, and create something similar, right? We didn't need to do this, right? This could have been done if GPT was there much earlier, right?
Right.
But of course, pre GPT or pre AI era, there were companies largely focused a lot on group tours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Planning and customized trips things was not a lot, into the market.
Right.
Chatbot. So I mean, there were chatbots, but no one really trusted the bots. They were like,
Correct.
okay, they used to immediately say, connect me to an agent,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Now people are trusting bots. They want the bots to do the job because they don't even want to speak to anyone,
Correct.
right? I it's even in industry where Swiggy, right? Food. So Swiggy, if I'm talking to a bot, the bot does my job, I'll be more than happy.
Right.
I don't even want to connect to an agent, right? Why people connect with an agent now? Why they connected with an agent earlier if they didn't trust the bot? Why do they
Yes.
connect with an agent now? They feel the agent can do slightly more than what the bot can
Yeah.
basically.
Right.
Some challenges that I faced. I mean, one of my co-founders left very early. So that was,
Okay.
I think, challenge in 2019, which I faced. My co-founder was facing anxiety and depression, right? And when someone is having a mental health issue, you don't do anything, can't really
Right.
do anything. And
Right.
I had to rebuild the team from scratch. And then came my CTO and my other co-founders. When we were growing initially, we did like a 4x multiple of our revenue within the first second year, right?
Okay.
We were going good. We had a funding offer in place, not a lot, minor funding offer, uh, but then COVID happened. The funding
Okay.
offer got pulled, the sales
Facilitator.
stopped, and I think that was a very difficult time. So we focused on building products. Secondly, taking the team online because we used to work in an office setting, and taking it online was a much bigger challenge. And
Correct.
then we finally got to executing and so on. And then came your AI era when there are these products coming up, and we were shocked. We want to implement fast, so we thought that why not at least recreate the data of all the countries that there are, at least make sure that we are doing what we're doing on backend and use GPT as a backup for our algorithms right now to see how it's gonna perform.
Hmm.
Even things worked for better after this really happened. We increased our numbers. We got stronger, better recommendations that we could do. But one thing I realized that AI powered basically natural language processing, of course, as
Uh-huh.
well as your large language LLM models
Hmm.
can't do the entire job. So you
Right.
need something extra, which was
Right.
really bugging us. I mean, how do we make it different, more nuanced, right? And that is where our algorithms actually helped us out. And eventually, another challenge that I could really, if I'm being openly honest, there are so many companies coming up that it also creates a challenge for us to prove our
Right.
differentiation over those, which happened also because a lot of these companies are just simple projects. They are just
Correct.
GPT models which look good, right? But they are not even monetizing. They are building multiple products along with the same, and it's more like a software company. And then but an investor doesn't know that. So this
Hmm.
and customer doesn't know that. So these are some challenges I'm facing. I was facing until a few months, years back. I would say last year. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. So, Shikhar, when you hire, right, in a company like yours, especially in this domain, what are those skills that you prioritize? Is it customer centric approach? Is it tech product? Or is it culture that you want to build in your company? What is something that you prioritize among all these?
I'll start with the departments, of course. I mean, for
Yeah,
product,
obviously.
it's the knowledge of the product that's most important. So
Correct.
that's clearly, for the tech team, we
Mm-hmm.
don't see a culture fit. We don't see, communication skills. We only see tech. If
Right.
you know what you're doing, and if you can do it fast, we're happy
Mm-hmm.
to work, right?
Nice.
Because we want fast execution. If the
Correct.
person best culture fit can make the team happy, but that doesn't build a business, right?
Right. Right.
But for the other departments, for a department like marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always ask about ideas. We give them cases. If you were to run a gym, if you were to run a flower bouquet company today, what will be your strategies? And we see the strategical mindset, the
Right.
creativity. For marketing, I think creativity is the biggest element for us, and the culture fit, of course,
Right.
because marketing team is usually the one that actually creates the culture by different campaigns involving the team and so on. Now, for sales and operations roles, now these are one of the most important roles in a
Correct.
travel company.
Right.
It's all about the person, how well to do they are, how do they carry themselves. And in
Correct.
that case, we don't care about what kind of knowledge you have, what kind of past experience you have, what have you studied, doesn't matter to us as long as you seem like someone who can get the job done. Yeah, so these are some of the soft skills that we look forward to in tech. We are not looking at soft skills, we're only looking at tech. Marketing, culture, and creativity is a bigger thing. But for sales and ops roles, it's more about your personality as an individual.
And how do these expectations differ when you hire a fresher versus an experienced candidate?
Okay. So if I talk particularly about, let's say, tech department,
Mm-hmm.
a project that is created fully by freshers seems like it has been created fully by freshers, because you see the kind of differentiation in the platform as you would feel it. So of course there is no difference in the nuance, the work that you would get. As far as marketing is concerned, someone who's a fresher, I feel they have difficulty executing because they are
Okay.
not able to make a decision uh, on, let's say, X. They are not able to make a decision. They always have to wait for someone else to tell them that you should make a decision. Unfortunately, we don't hire at mid management roles right now.
Okay.
We hire either heads, or we hire VPs, or we hire uh, executives. There's no
Understood.
middle. And the reason for that is that we want to sort of promote someone internally from the team,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. But on a very different note, for a department like operations, it's very important that someone has experience, because to
Right.
communicate with vendors, make partnerships, it's important.
Right.
But for a department like sales, we have seen that there is not major difference between
Mm-hmm.
someone who has recently joined or someone who has been doing sales for a long time. Also, because if we hire someone experienced in the travel industry, particularly, they wanna make similar itineraries a lot more.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
some new has been hired, they wanna create unique itineraries because they don't
Okay.
really know, and they would
Correct.
use the platform. And so, yeah, I mean, these are some of the things that I have felt over time.
Very interesting perspective. So, just to continue that question, now that you said that somebody new when they come in, they automatically, have a fresher perspective when it comes
Yeah,
to creating an experience for a customer, right? How do you
yeah.
think the newer generation, which is Gen Zs, have actually come into your kind of system and helped customers? Or is that been an experience where they are waiting for other people to guide them all the time?
Yeah. Okay. So of course, for a department like marketing, you have to, of course, make a decision that's going to define the budget and
Right.
XYZ. Their ideas are very unique. The kind of plans they bring on the table are always set apart. Someone came
Very
up with an
nice.
idea that let's promote proposals which are perfect with a
Oh,
holiday kind of setting, right? And then someone said, let's offer refunds on when someone says no. And I approved of it. I loved it. Right? It was a great
very
marketing.
interesting. Very
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
And now these are freshers. They have come up with their own ideas.
Right.
They have seen a different set of audience. They
Correct.
have they do have a lot of say. Whatever I feel, even if they want an approval, or they have to wait for an approval, or whatsoever. I think I really appreciate the fact that they always speak up.
Yeah.
Whether it's not just in the role. I mean, it's from salary negotiations to even bonuses to even leaves. If we say ki, okay, we don't allow more than X number of leaves, they're gonna be like, why are we creating such a culture? And now that makes you think. Same for sales and travel specialists and operations roles. They keep coming up with new ideas, new things to execute, and we have made a separate channel for all this. That
Okay.
you keep your ideas here, you keep your ideas here. We'll add them one by one. We'll discuss in a brainstorming meeting, and we'll try to see which we can execute.
Interesting. Very nice. Very nice. So I think one very important thing that you told us is that it is also important to give platform to these guys, because
Yeah,
eventually they are actually the people who understand the generation the most, and eventually that is the generation where all the businesses will be built around. Right.
yeah.
Interesting. Very nice. What are certain green flags, which you see in talent? You're talking to somebody, you see, okay, this is one quality I would want to hire him immediately.
So first one would be the quality to say no. You
Okay.
don't. I don't have good ideas always. I have the worst of ideas. And no matter if I'm the founder, I want to hear no. I want to hear something like, I hate it, right? And I want my team to be able to openly say it on my face that
Right.
I hate this idea. It's gonna, because if only one person keeps thinking, the business will never work. The
Correct.
startup eventually going to fade away. But if
Right.
everyone has a thought, a perspective, then it creates magic. So the first one is the quality to be able to say no, say I hate it to my face. The second thing would be passion. So when when you talk to someone who is passionate, you want to hear them talk. You
Right.
want to listen to them. You want to hear what they're saying. But when someone talks without passion, uh, things go over your head, and that is something which I very easily figure out
Well,
in
yeah.
the or while meeting someone as well, that if this person breathes passion, and that passion need not be about work or their department or their industry. You can be passionate about anything. Let's say
Correct.
you're passionate about swimming today, right?
Right.
You talk about swimming, I listen to you. I listen to you for half an hour, 1 hour maybe, right? Because I like to hear, people who are breathing their passion out in this particular
Right.
sense. And lastly, someone who knows the technology, something as simple as ChatGPT can be used in a million different ways. Even I
Correct.
feel I'm not using it properly, I'm not using it enough. I should use it more, right? And if someone gives me a task done by ChatGPT, and I see it's good, I'm okay, I'm good to go with the same. So these three things I feel are very important, are definitely green flags about an individual. Of course, apart from their knowledge and technical knowledge and even their department based knowledge or their past experience, but these three things really make any candidate sort of stand apart.
Right. Right. And on the flip side, are there certain red flags that if you see something in a guy like, I don't want him in the organization?
Okay. So I think that the first red flag would be, you don't give me the right references, because we like to speak to references to understand.
Correct.
And if there is no reference or the reference has not given us a positive feedback, that's a clear red flag. Always talk to someone at least that the person knows. If not, talk to any a teacher, maybe a
Okay.
teacher, someone in a professional setting. So that would be the biggest number one red flag.
Got it.
Number two red flag would be that I always give a task. We always give some kind of task to the candidate, that you do X Y Z. This not need not be related to what we are doing. It's something
Okay.
in an entirely different industry. Give us a video, talk about yourself. And if the task is not, so we give very specific things. You do this
Okay.
task, you write a specific subject line in your email, and
Okay.
that needs a specific format, CC to a specific ID within this
Okay.
deadline. So
Understood.
now there are 4 or 5 tiny things that we have given with the task. These are very tiny things. But if a candidate makes mistake in one of these things, that leads to an automatic rejection. And I'll be very
Uh,
honest, because if someone doesn't care about these minute details,
right.
then it's a red flag. If you
So it's
cannot, yeah,
correct.
if you
Please
give
go ahead. It's
something.
attention to detail, basically, right?
Yeah, you have to you have to definitely give attention to your detail. And last would be, of course, if someone has missed an interview, or if someone without see, if you have missed an interview or if you have missed any meeting for whatsoever reason, it doesn't take a lot to keep me informed, as long
Yeah.
as it's an emergency, right? If
Right.
it's an emergency, that's completely all right. If due to, if you forgot, or if due to any reason that you have or whatsoever, it takes nearly 30 seconds to write a mail.
Inform.
And
Yeah.
if someone else is dedicating their time to you, then it's completely expected. I
Right.
also consider not turning video on when my video is on. That's, I think, my Gen Z kind of a
Yeah.
approach. But if my video is on, you keep your video on. If your
See, yeah.
video is off, I'll keep my video off. But at least in interview, see, we are a company that's doing work from home, and I'm
Right.
doing an interview. I turn my video on. I'm in a setting. Then I want you to turn your video on. Period. Right?
Correct.
And if you're not turning your video on, honestly, that's a rejection for me, because I feel you do not care
Correct.
this much that you would get a bit ready for the kind of discussion that, actually, I'm wearing a shirt today. I would ideally wear a t-shirt if you were not doing this podcast,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because
Right.
I don't do any interviews today,
Oh,
right? So
wow.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's something very, so if I have to even talk to an investor today, I'll definitely at least wear something slightly different. Probably have
Correct.
my I'll be organized. I'll try to look better than what I do usually look, at least because I know that I'm gonna have this meeting.
What would be that one advice that you would like to give to early professionals, people who are graduating, people who will graduate next year, if they intend or dream to work in a travel kind of a setup or an industry which is related to tours and travels? What is that one advice that you would like to give to these people?
But I used to travel a lot and I miss it. I regret that, over past 1 year I have not been able to travel much. But
Hmm.
if you are in the space, you have to feel it. You have to see
Wow.
what people really face while you're exploring. And it doesn't take much. I mean, you can go to a nearby place, but just explore different places, meet different people, and that gives you a bigger edge than a lot of people don't really have in the industry, no matter what they say. So
I think it's a brilliant advice. I mean, to be very frank, travel teaches so many experiences, and you will be able to communicate it so much better to all the people who
yeah,
are in the industry. Very nice. I think that's a very, very brilliant advice to anybody who is seeking, a role in travel industry.
right.
Wow. And where do you see the next big opportunities or career moves in experiential travel over the next 2, 3 years? Like, considering that AI is shaping or changing things every few months, I would say.
Yeah. So AI, while it makes things a lot more efficient, right? Something it can't really work on is experiential travel, I feel, because it can't get you to experience something, right?
Okay.
Uh, and for that, I think there's the biggest, I think that there's a lot of opportunity, not the biggest, I would say, but there's a lot of opportunity in creating experiences, local led experiences. If let's
Right.
say I am starting with something like pub crawls today, and
Mm-hmm.
later on I expand into, and let's say I'm a very good storyteller, then I would
Okay.
do storytelling walks with Shikhar, right? I'll create an Instagram page. I'll get more people involved with me, and that is something which is a career path, on your own. And there are platforms. Even we are listing local led experiences.
Right.
Spend a day with the fishermen, experience a day with a local storyteller, and a lot more. So this gives you a strong edge that these local led experiences, I think, is a big opportunity. Number one. Number two would be creating something for the hotel industry. Most hotels, especially five stars, I feel they are able to adapt to technology easily, right? But no one is building for those 3 stars and 4 stars in budget hotels
Right.
where they are operating in the same way. You go to a hotel in Himachal somewhere, and you see that they are still filling names in registers right now, right?
Right.
So why has there not been development in these particular? People are running 8 hotels, 10 hotels, and still filling registers, which
Right.
someone can build something for the mid to budget range hotel
And
segment particularly. A very interesting idea was AI agent to AI agent, that A to A model,
yeah.
where AI agents can interact between themselves, which is something that we are also working on just to
Wow.
break the news, where our AI agent can work with a hotel's AI agent, and we can sort of negotiate the prices on the fly and provide it to the user, right?
Wow.
Which is something, and bundle it with something so they don't even have to disclose their price if they don't want to, right? And which is a very interesting space again. I mean, if you are just, if as a hotel I don't have to download any app, I don't have to manage my availability on an app. It's just a WhatsApp that I'm using, and I can
Right.
just directly exchange this particular management. It's a much easier approach going forward. Then lastly, coming to AI powered audio guides, video
Mm-hmm.
guides, plus AI mixed audio guides in a very nice storytelling kind of a way. There
Mm-hmm.
are amazing channels on YouTube like yours, right? We are having a podcast right now, right? And if someone who has a great channel and has a way of speaking, they can easily create their own AI bot to create multiple storytelling
Definitely.
guides. So, which is another opportunity. And then comes the last, the airlines, right? If someone wants to build something for the airline, there is a lot of things at the airport itself that can be
Right.
done. Facial recognition needs help. checked-in baggage needs help, right? The airlines have such fragmented pricing. What about the low budget airlines, right? They need they have been, so for example, just to give
Mm-hmm.
you an example of an airline, right? So I won't name the airline. What they do is they'll charge you for a 7 kgs baggage. They won't
Right.
even tell you you don't even have a checked-in package, right?
Ah,
When you reach the airport, you have to pay for the checked-in package, right?
seen.
Now, what about, and there's a lot of airlines like that, not in India, abroad, there's a lot of airlines like that, right? What about handling their checked-in baggage? There's a nearly, a million people who would be paying for just checking in their baggage, and that is way high cost every single day. Here's a
Right.
problem to solve, right? So
Correct.
I mean, if you actually start traveling, you would see that there are so many problems, and you would just find one, and that
Correct.
one needs.
Interesting. Interesting. I think there's certain things, right? Because you are in the industry, you are able to connect. I think it's very important that you pick up one part, solve it first, make sure that
Yes.
you're doing really well there, and then try to expand instead of trying to do a lot of things in one go. I think it's a very, very interesting and fantastic advice to everybody who's listening. And thank you so very much, Shikhar, for this insightful conversation. Right, I am so sure that a lot of people who are graduating out of colleges, who would be working next year, maybe this year itself, would gain a lot of out of this particular conversation, especially for the people who are aspiring to be in travel domain. Thank you so very much for your time.